Good morning and welcome back to BIFA TV, your daily dose of industry information. The topic of today's episode is the EU Deforestation Regulation, and Igor is here to tell us some more information. Firstly, good morning.
Good morning, Natalie.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. It's good to be back.
Yes, welcome back to the hot seat.
Thank you. Thank you.
So today we're going to be talking about the EUDR. There's been some conversations recently around the EUDR. Can you share the latest developments for us?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. So EUDR is the EU's green agenda to combat deforestation and illegal logging, and that's the environmental and sustainable policy, which was enacted actually back in June 2023. So we are currently in a transitional period, and the full implementation is scheduled for the 31st of December 2025, so end of this year. And recently, in September, there was a conversation picked up among the traders, and that was due to a letter sent by one of the EU member state representatives. They sent a letter to the Commission with a proposal to delay the implementation. However, shortly after, 7 other member state representatives sent another letter uh, asking to don't delay actually that implementation. So at the moment, they had no impact on the date, because any proposals that has to be submitted to the Commission as a collective request, not just by random EU member states. So at the moment, it looks like for the large businesses, the requirement to comply with those regulations, they will go ahead on 31st of December 2025. And for the SMEs, the requirement to comply will go live on the 30th of June 2026 next year, so 6 months later. And the latest we heard is that there will be a 6-month non-enforcement period for traders. Is just to give them some time to get used to the new requirements, how to submit that information, how to use the systems. So there will be a bit of buffer for the traders. And the other key kind of angle why we heard more about the EUDR is Northern Ireland, because this is an EU requirement, and we wanted to clarify if Northern Ireland is within the scope for this requirement or not. And at the time of recording, we understand that yes, traders in Northern Ireland will have to comply with those new requirements from the date I mentioned.
Sure.
And also would like to grab the opportunity and highlight one key takeaway from this presentation, that it's not the freight forwarder's responsibility to comply with those regulations. It is the exporter or the importers or the manufacturer of the product.
So, for those members who are watching who are not familiar with the term EUDR, can you just give us a brief overview?
Yes, so EUDR, as I mentioned, is the green policy of the European Union, and that's the importers, exporters, manufacturers in the EU is their responsibility to check and evidence that the goods are not linked to deforestation and are produced to the local requirements of the country of origin. Okay, so what goods are in the scope of EUDR is coffee, rubber, cattle, cocoa, wood, palm oil, and soy. And as well, it includes the derivatives as well. So, for example, if the trader is dealing with wood and they produce paper, for example, so paper is in scope as well. If cattle, that could be leather as well. Or rubber, if they manufacture car tires, so those car tires, they are still in the scope of EUDR.
Sure.
So how the reporting will work, our understanding, there will be a requirement to submit a digital statement or DDS statement, and that submission will happen through traces, It's a well-known EU system. It's known for CHED document submissions or generate CHED. So the DDS reporting will happen through this interface as well. And the information which required to be submitted to traces is limited. So there will be a requirements to submit information about the name of the supplier, for example, the commodity code of the goods, and also geolocation information will be required.
Okay.
However, the traders dealing with EUDR, they will have to complete some due diligence processes as well to back up the statement, and they will be required to get information related, for example, to the movement of the goods. So they will have to get a copy of the bill of lading, for example, just to evidence the whole journey, how
Sure.
they move the goods. So, and as well, they will have to have a copy of the commercial documentation to back up that the same amount of goods moved on that bill of lading, which is mentioned on the commercial documentation. And then they might have to get, for example, harvest permits, log removal passes as well. So that's kind of evidence that the information they submitted in DDS that backed up by additional information. And as I mentioned previously, and would like to echo it again, it is not the freight forwarder's responsibility to submit the DDS declarations. It is the importers and exporters. However, there are few things what freight forwarders can do. And first of all is notify your customers, notify the importers, exporters, sellers about the new requirements coming in, and ask them to prepare, try to get that information, the required information for those DDS statements, because it will require them to work with the parties who are involved in the supply chain in order to obtain the required documentation, obtain the required information. So they will have to build a kind of a relationship with those parties. And also from Northern Ireland perspective, as far as we are aware, so there will be a requirement for Northern Ireland traders to submit those DDS declarations. And those DDS declarations will be required by a shipment basis. So it's not a 6 monthly or annual reporting. In most cases, it has to be done per shipment. And the mechanism, as far as we are aware, how it will happen. So they will have to generate a reference number in traces, and that reference number actually has to be passed to a customs agent, whoever will be submitting the CDS declaration, because that reference number will go into the CDS declaration, and that's how it all will be linked, and that's how the goods will be kind of declared to customs, and they will be cleared via the CDS.
So it sounds like there's a lot for our members to be thinking about in the coming weeks, and also importers and exporters have a lot to be thinking about as well. Can you tell us where our members can find some further information?
Yep, there's a number of links on the European Commission's website, a few pages where members can find information related to, for example, which business can be considered large business or which one is SME, so how to decide in which category you fall, for example. All these information available on the commodity codes, which are within the scope of the EUDR.
Igor, that's great. Thank you for your detailed update this morning, and thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
As Igor mentioned, there's plenty of information available online, but we'll pop some key links in the description below. That's all for today's episode of BIFA TV, your daily dose of industry information.